Hello, folks. It's me, Kerbanaut here. Welcome to another episode of Let's Actually Play KSP. In this episode, we're going to be doing some very interesting things. First off, we are going to be launching Leo. Leo, of course, is our single stage to orbit space plane capable of taking a small payload and a few Kerbals up to orbit. And docking with the space station in orbit, which, as you may know, is called Sphere Station. So, we have to chuck a guy out first. Why are we chucking a guy out? Why are you doing this, Kerbal? Why are you leaving that poor Kerbal behind as you ascend majestically into the air and up to orbit? Well, it's because of a mission that we've been given. You see, some space programs are not as achieved as us. Some space programs do not have as much experience in space as we do. And one such space program took on an endeavor a few months ago, and they launched their first Kerbal to orbit, and it's a very, very admirable thing to be launching your own Kerbals to orbit. And this space program was very proud, up until the moment they realized that their spacecraft had gained some artificial intelligence. At which point, the Kerbal was kicked out of the cockpit, ejected out of the bay, the airlock. Thankfully, as all Kerbals are required by the universal Kerbal law, he was wearing his spacesuit, so he didn't die, but he was ejected out of this thing, and then the spaceship decided that it was heading off, and it flew off into the distance, never to be seen again. And our poor Kerbal was stranded in orbit. Now, at this point, the people, the lovely people on the space program, decided they need to save this guy. However, because of all the bad publicity they had from this artificial intelligence taking over the craft, and them losing a Kerbal in space, they could not launch a spacecraft. They were unable to do so. Their funds were cut, and their entire space program was mothballed, and it was just retired. And so they decided to get in touch with the highest rated, the best space program on Kerbal. Kerbin. Oh, the best space program on Kerbin. And they got in touch with them. Cough, cough, that's us. And they asked us, hey, could you just go up and grab our guy? He's up there. Our spacecraft did a AI thing, and we said we're having a bit of trouble right here. Our cameras are flying off into the distance, but we're going up to refuel Sphere Station anyway with our SSTO, because we have one of those and you don't. So we might as well go up and pick your guy up. But we're gonna need some money from you. And they were a bit annoyed, but they agreed. They agreed to give us some of their money. The very last of it, we're literally just sucking the money out of their pockets. The last few coppers that they have, we've been sucking it out, and just absolutely squeezing them dry of all their funds, so that we could get a bit more towards some of our projects. So we decided to help them out for a large fee, and return their Kerbal to the planet Kerbin. Inside the cockpit here, we can see that lovely Kerbal enjoying a heated re-entry, a lovely cooking re-entry, and he sees that we've lost some of the canards up front. He turns to his Kerbal friend in the other seat and asks him what's going on, because of course he's never been in this space plane before. He's from a completely different space program. And we tell him that's normal. That's totally normal. You know, this space plane is designed to lose its canards, and it's designed to lose all of its solar panels upon re-entry. And of course, he's a bit skeptical. You know, he's like, "What? Why is that?" And his Kerbal friend, the pilot, turns to him and says, "Well, I'll tell you later," and continues to fly the spacecraft. He turns it around and he brings it back to the landing pad, and brings our friendly Kerbal from this other space program down onto Kerbin. And we give him a wee sticker that says "Well done," and we send him off on a holiday to Barbados, or some other Kerbal island that I'm sure exists on Kerbin. Of course, the Kerbal we rescued, his space program has gone out of business. Of course, we sucked it dry of all its money, and so he has nowhere to return to. But he's a pilot at heart. He is a spacefaring citizen at heart. He's not one of those engineers or one of those designers or a repairman, or anything. He shouldn't be working in the tracking station for the rest of his life. He is a pilot, and he wants to fly spaceships for the rest of his life. Unfortunately, there's no more space programs that he can go to, and so he came to us. He said, "Look, can I just join your space program?" And we turned to him and we said, "Sure, but we're not going to pay you." And he was fine with that. He was extraordinarily fine with that. And we were just happy to have him. So yeah, that's how we managed to get our friend into our space program, and we actually gained money from it. We didn't even have to pay him, which was brilliant, because paying people is so overrated. Money needs to be spent on, you know, buying rockets and paying for fuel, not paying for Kerbals. You know, sometimes we even blend Kerbals up just to make the fuel. But that's an honorable sacrifice, though. It's a sacrifice that all Kerbals are willing to make, and we make sure they're willing to make it before they join our space program. We know it's in the fine print, in the details, and of course we just make them sign it quickly, so that should any legal implications arise from them, you know, being forced to be blended, if that soupy mix that we use for rocket fuel lands somewhere near KSC and retains its intelligence and decides to sue, we can point to the fine print and say that in fact we have it in the fine print that, you know, you're allowed to be smushed up and turned into fuel. Anyway, so yeah, that we've got a new Kerbal, and we have some more things to do. First things first, after our rescue of our valiant Kerbal, of course, we have to send some fuel off to Minimus, because Celia Station is running very low on fuel, and we need to send some fuel out there. Whether that fuel is a mix of mushed up Kerbals or not will not be disclosed. That is not something I can legally discuss with anyone. It's something that is only known to myself, and maybe the rocket engines, depending on whether they have taste buds or not, because I'm not sure if Kerbals taste any different to real rocket fuel. Who knows? Maybe that's how Kerbals are made. It's the cycle of life. It's the cycle of life. You're born out of rocket fuel, and then you get mushed up into rocket fuel at the end of the day. That's the cycle of life. That's why they never die. It's because we've always got fuel on our ships, and if they like break a finger or a limb or anything, we just pump some rocket fuel into them and they're fine. You know, it's that's how it works. You know, that puff of smoke when they hit the ground at a high speed, it's just their body being liquefied and then being vaporized, and that gas is just some kind of liquid fuel and oxidizer mix that has been kind of vaporized at such high velocities. Anyway, thankfully we've not had to deal with any of those puffs of smoke as of yet, and so we can send our craft back to Kerbin, make an aero break at Kerbin to rendezvous with Sphere Station, and try and suck some more fuel out of it, because we need to supply a lot of fuel to the station. So, with that, we have to continue. We have to dock with Sphere Station. Now, unfortunately, we don't want to spend fuel. We really don't. I'm having to spend a little bit of fuel here at Periapps just to bring our Apple apps down enough. And then I'm just time warping so hard. I'm just really want to time warp so that I can hop out to the atmosphere, make our plane change, and then bring our Apple apps up and make some, make some more orbital maneuvers. So yes, it's some very, very interesting stuff happening. Talking about very interesting stuff, Kerbal Space Program has just been updated with 0.90, which is very, very awesome. I'm loving it. We've got new biomes, we've got new editor tools, we've got Kerbal Experience. Kerbal Experience is a very cool thing. It allows you, with your pilots anyway, to have a semi-automated kind of piloting. You can hold certain vectors. It is a beautiful thing, and along with some pretty awesome editor tools. I'm not sure what they're calling them. Is it gizmos? Is it gadgets? Is it gazmos? I don't know. But they're pretty awesome, whatever they're called. I'm absolutely loving them. So, it's some awesome stuff. But what are we doing now? We are detaching a space probe from the station. This used to hold fuel. It doesn't anymore. It's completely empty. So we decide to deorbit it because it doesn't have any fuel in it. Along with that lack of fuel, we need to do something about lack of fuel, right? Fuel is the blood of any space program. You can have your infrastructure being your bones, you can have your Kerbals being your flesh, but at the end of the day, fuel is the lifeblood of absolutely any space program. Without fuel, you cannot survive. You can exist, but you cannot survive. You can have your Kerbals hanging around, but you can't actually do anything, which is just the way it is. Now we have to supply fuel to every space probe, spaceship, space vessel, including this kind of tug that is supplying fuel to all the way out to Minimus and Celia Station. So we have to effectively, our fuel's journey goes from Kerbin, then onto Leo. Leo brings it up to orbit, and docks with Sphere Station, and then transfers that fuel over to the tug. The tug will then take it all the way out to Minimus, and then from Minimus it'll go into one of the landers, and the lander will use it to land, get the science, come back. So effectively what fuel allows us to do is gain science. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Now you see we have to deflate that rotating torus. The rotating torus is pretty cool. It simulates the effects of gravity by its rotational force, or I can't remember. I could probably look up the science, see stuff on Wikipedia and other super reliable sources, and tell you. But I'm not offhand. I can't remember the technical, jargon. I know roughly how it works, but I just can't remember how to say it. So it's not brilliant. But we do have to deflate it, because without deflating it, we can't dock this SSTO. We can't dock Leo, which is very, very bad. Without being able to dock Leo, we could not transfer the fuel, and our entire mission would be at risk. Of course, that's why we deflate it, but we transfer the fuel over, and we undock and float majestically away from Sphere Station. We can see the shadow right there on the solar panels, And as we fly away, we can see that Celia Station is also majestic in its departure, apparently flying into the sun, or in that direction, should I say. And that is pretty epic, just being able to watch the space station depart. Now, once we get out of orbit, we monitor our suborbital trajectory and bring it nice and low, nice and slow, and bring it in for a lovely landing at the KSC. I took an absolute age on this return trajectory. I can't speak, sorry. This return trajectory. So yeah, what I did was I brought my periaps down to like 20k, and brought it down like halfway around Kerbin. I keep calling it Kerbal. Halfway around Kerbin, and then spent about half an orbit in the atmosphere, just slowing down. It was a really calm re-entry, and it was really nice just to be able to land here without any, maddening flames or anything happening. So we return our Kerbals and the space plane, and being able to recover that means that we don't lose funds on the hardware components. Apart from the fuel, of course. The fuel is the one thing that we have to keep replacing, and is, I would say, the focus of this episode. Just fuel in general, which is a very boring subject if you think about it. But it's just one of those things that has to be done. We need to transfer fuel, and that's just the way of things. But next episode is going to be very cool, because we have some basic infrastructure around Kerbin. We have some basic infrastructure around Minimus, and it's transferable to the moon. But what we don't have is basic infrastructure on another planet, and what we do have is a Kerbin to Moho transfer window coming up in 1 day. And that 1 day is going to be the next episode. We're going to be doing some pretty cool things in the next episode. I have it recorded, I have it being edited, so that's going to be coming out relatively soon. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like if you will. Make a comment down below, tell me what you want to see me do, and I always take your suggestions on board. So I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.